Yeah, just a second. Good evening. Welcome to the October business meeting of the Macomb Park District Board of Commissioners. For any longtime viewers out there, any sense of deja vu is perhaps caused by me sitting in the presiding officer's chair. We have two absences this evening, the board president and the board vice president, and I was held down in the corner long enough that I would go ahead and consent to step back into the role. We do have a quorum, and since we do have such, we can proceed to business, the first item of which would be approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the agenda as published, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda stands approved. The next item is consideration of an action on the minutes from the September board meeting. Are there any corrections, additions, or such to those minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
There is a second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes of the October meeting, we're in October, of the September meeting as published. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the minutes stand approved as published. We have no one here wishing to make, oops, I always forget that one, and I apologize. Next item is the bills and transfers and monthly financial statements. Commissioner Ham, please.
Thank you, John.
Senior moment.
For the September consolidated fund, the cash on hand at the end of the month was $715,695. The revenues for September were $27 better than budget. The expenses for the month ran $132,280 more than budget. Overall for the month, we were $132,178 more than budget. The year to date, we are still running at $117,491 better than budget. We had a monthly expense there. The general fund, we ended the September with $552,868 on hand. The revenues ended the month $5,104 below the budget. For the month, expenses for the month ran $5,175 less than the budget. Overall, we ended the month $71 better than the budget projections in the year to date. We were $95,128 better than we expected. Corporate account, we ended the month $1,410 better than budget, and year to date were $53,167 better than budget. Recreation overall for the end of the month, $746 over budget. Year to date, we're at $18,174 better than the budget. For Lakeview, we ended the month $374 better than the budget expectations, and year to date, we're at around $2,352 better than budget. For Ball 4, the month, we ended $1,465 below budget expectations, and for the year to date, we're, for the budget, $16,334 below that number. As you know, Balfour has been closed most of the months of September and part of October. So that affects a lot of the discrepancy in the budget amounts. Special rec, I would like to cover the program events overall. We ended the month $47 better than expectations, and year-to-date, we're setting $9,898 below the budget. For Special Olympics, overall, we ended the month $191 better than budget. Year-to-date, we're $5,364 ahead of projections. For the non-activity, for the month ended, overall, $461 below predicted budget numbers, and year-to-date is $548 better than the budget projections. For police, for year-to-date, we're at $5,659 better than budget, and payroll year-to-date is $75,187 below budget. I would like to also note that we did receive another 25% of the tax distribution on September 24th in the amount of $213,543. We still have 10% remaining, and we expect that sometime to be paid in November. We have billed the state for some expenses for the COVID extra, for hopefully we're going to get some state reimbursement. We don't know what that'll be, but approximately $17,000 is still in review by the state. We've received a small amount. I did want to note it was a small amount this time of $1,305. For the personal property replacement tax, on October 14th, we did receive $10,506. Did anyone have any other additional questions?
Are there any questions for Commissioner Ham? The usual thorough job. Thank you.
Well, I thank the office manager for providing me a lot with this information, and so that I can kind of review it and look at the detailed numbers each month.
Well, teamwork is what it's about. So if there are no questions or comments, then may I hear a motion to approve the minutes, bills, and transfers for the October board meeting as published?
Motion to approve.
And I will second that. This will be a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hemingway?
Aye.
Commissioner Gamage?
Aye.
Commissioner Ham?
Aye.
Then the bills and transfers, monthly financial statements stand approved as published. And once again, thank you, Russ, it's appreciated. Now I can say that we have no one here for an open public presentation, which moves us then to agenda item 5, which is to conduct a public hearing for the issuance of park bonds for park purposes for the payment of outstanding obligations of the district and for the payment of expenses incumbent thereto. That is the statutory language. I will now open the hearing and point out again that we have nobody in attendance, but let us wait perhaps 30 or 40 seconds and see if someone suddenly materializes before we rush to any conclusions. And I do wish I knew how to sing the Jeopardy tune, but you don't want me trying, so. Listening for footfalls in the hallway, the opening of a door, elevator door, and hearing none, that the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Would like to move so.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I believe we can do this by voice.
Yes, it
So,
is.
all in favor
Well, no,
of-
no, it is roll call, sorry.
It is roll call, I'm sorry,
That's what, my apologies.
rusty.
Commissioner Gamage,
Aye.
Commissioner Ham,
Aye.
Commissioner Hemingway.
Aye. And with that, the public hearing on the issuance of park bonds for park purposes for the payment of outstanding obligations of the district and the payment of expenses incident thereto is now closed. Now, the next item up is the president's report. And I feel I should not say anything. And so the good news is we move directly to the director's report, who I'm sure will have things to say.
I shall. Okay, so starting off, I got an exciting text from our maintenance superintendent, Jeff Hoyt, this morning with photos of the lights at the youth baseball diamonds at Veterans Park being turned on for the first time. So they were just testing to make sure the wiring was connected properly. It is not officially ready for them to be turned on yet. There's still work to be done, but it was exciting to see that, they're getting close. So great to see that project coming to a close. Ball 4 did open as we had hoped. It opened on September 25th. It was open for 4 weekends. We were going to try and keep it open for one more weekend here in October, but with the weather forecast being cold and rainy for the weekend, we're thinking not. So happy we got a few weekends in, but Ball 4 is now officially closed for the season. And we are thankful for those who came out and showed their support. We did have quite a few families show up over those 4 weekends, so glad to see that's a resource that people got to enjoy, and looking forward to having it back next year. If you have been in the parks recently, you may have seen random items hanging from trees or maybe stapled to shelters. That is part of the Macomb School of Magic program that was created by our graduate assistant, Rock Loxley. He did a phenomenal job of researching historic figures and basing the school similar to what you might see in a Harry Potter film, but each house that is in the school is based off of a historical figure. So there are 4 houses. Each house has its own park. The parks being Lakeview, Glenwood, Veterans, and Patton. And he goes and hides different items in the park each week. A new house is open. So at the end, this whole culmination of scavenger hunts and whatnot will lead to an event that will be socially distanced out at Glenwood and Everly. It will be split between the multitude of pavilions there to make sure everybody is distanced. But you can go and you can be sorted into your official Macomb School of Magic house. You can go make a wand and a multitude of other activities. So if you guys are free and looking for something to do on October 31st from noon to 3, there will be a magical event happening in the Glenwood and Everly Park, kicking off in the Stone Shelter if you're looking for where to start. So at Patton, focusing in on that, you may see some changes happening there. Jeff Hoyt and I sat down and talked about the different things that would be expected to come out of the maintenance department, some opportunities for us to do some of this construction in-house, and within a 24-hour period, he had started. So the practice football field fencing has been removed. The blue shed, if it's not down already, will be down by the end of the week. But getting that part of the property prepared to install the new dog park. Our friends over at IMEG, who have been helping us with our Veterans Park project, have graciously offered to help us GIS locate where each fence post will go for the dog bone fencing as an in-kind donation to the project. So we're very grateful for their generosity in being such an amazing community partner. We do have a multitude of Push for Parks partners. Our friends at the Old Dairy are still doing the homemade dog treats, but that will be wrapping up here at the end of the month. So they're fantastic. A lot of dogs I know, well, they're owners, but the dogs are the ones who eat them, so are enjoying them quite thoroughly. So please go out and help support the Park District and the Old Dairy for doing this for us. But that is something I believe will continue after this regardless. So we're very appreciative of that partnership. Our next Push for Parks partner, we're excited to announce, is the White House. They will be selling their tenderloin for $8, $2 of every plate sold. The tenderloin will go to the patent project as a whole. And there are more to come. We're hoping to have a Push for Parks campaign once a month. And so far that's been an easy goal for the staff to achieve. Everybody seems very excited and willing to help. So looking forward to working with more community partners in the future. What else? Oh, we had a visit from our iParks loss control representative. They come every 2 years just to make sure that we are abiding by best practice in the parks and risk management. So Superintendent Armstrong took the rep on a tour of the parks, and to our great surprise and excitement, we had 2 minor compliance changes that were requested. Light up exit signs above the Lakeview doors, and there were a few missing breakers in panel boxes that they've asked us to cap. And that is all. So those have been remedied. I think that is the smallest risk management report we have received from iPark. So that's a kudos not only to Neil and the safety checks that he's been doing, but also to Superintendent Hoyt for his work with maintenance and just making sure everything is in tip-top shape. We will start closing up restrooms here at the end of October. This is standard for us every year. You know, parks will still be open, but we have to get the restrooms closed so that our pipes don't burst when the freeze hits. So be on the lookout for those to be closed and just plan accordingly when you do come and visit the parks. I did register for IAPD's legal symposium that's happening on November 5th. They are moving to a virtual platform, as so many are, so excited that they are still offering that excellent educational session. I'm sure it will be chock full of things for us to pay attention to. I am excited and saddened at the same time to announce that tomorrow is Sharon Camp's last day with the Macomb Park District. She is retiring. She has been with us for a really long time, and she's going to be very hard for us to replace. She keeps us all in line and makes sure that we're all taken care of, and she's fondly become the Park District's mama bear in making sure that we're, you know, focusing on ourselves as much as we are the parks. So Chris Frankhauser and I have a big task ahead of us in finding Sharon's replacement, but I cannot thank her enough for what she's done for us and her time with us and keeping us all in line, and especially Superintendent Armstrong. That is a task. So, and then last but not least, I wanted to just put out an encouragement, like so many of our partners in the community have, for public to wear masks. McDonough County is starting to see some numbers rise with the COVID cases, and you know, the Park District has been an encourager since the beginning of following best practice and CDC guidelines, and so we're just wanted to take the opportunity to reiterate that, especially with cold and flu season coming up. Please wash your hands, please wear masks. It's a very simple ask, and you know, we want to make sure that everybody can continue to enjoy their day without getting sick, so simple solution, wear a mask. And that's all.
Are there any questions or comments for the director? I'm going to piggyback on Director Lenz's comments with specific regard to Sharon's retirement. She's been with the Park District as long as I can remember and has done a wonderful job on so many different levels. She is the rock on which the Park District has rested. She's the one who's answered the happy calls and the maybe not so happy calls. She has kept more people in line than just Director Armstrong. That's a tough call, but she's had to deal with commissioners and Director Peterson and all sorts of other things. And she is a gem. And I personally will miss her, and I will professionally miss her. And she is the epitome of what a public employee should be. And I just wanted to put that on the record for the board. I'm sure Sharon will go, ugh. But no, she can't escape that way. So I think I can say safely from the board, thank you, Sharon. Thank you ever so much, and best wishes. So, before I break into tears, item 8 on the agenda is consideration and possible action on the executive director attending the National Park and Recreation Association Conference. And we'll let her cop her plea here.
Fair enough. As I mentioned in the email that I had sent, and I think I mentioned it last time I was here, my contract limits the dollar amount that can be spent on educational offerings, and it's enough to get me to the things that are necessary here in Illinois. NRPA is not something that I have considered venturing to before, just because it's across the country, and that would be quite the expense for us. But this year, it is they are offering it on a virtual platform. I think especially during this time of COVID and uncertainty, and seeing how other rec and park and rec agencies are navigating these hard times and being creative and finding new platforms to offer services would just be invaluable. So I would greatly appreciate the opportunity to bring those resources that they're offering and that they're teaching about to Macomb. It is, the cost for the registration is $295, not unusual for a conference of that magnitude. So yeah, I think it could be a very valuable opportunity for the district.
Are there any questions or discussion? Would anybody care to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The motion to approve.
Motion to approve has been made. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion has been made to approve and seconded. I think we can do this by voice. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Then it's so authorized.
Thank you very much.
Number 9 on the agenda is distribution and discussion of the executive director's annual review packet. This is a contractual item. The director is required to submit to us the start of each calendar year a set of goals that the Park District Board acts on to accept. And then at this point in October and again then in November, the progress on those goals, their status, is also contractually required to come before the board. We have a small group here this evening, and as no action is required this evening, I would like to offer a motion that we simply delay any discussion and consideration until our colleagues are able to return in November, and we can then, as a full board, proceed. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me for a small group just to go over what we would undoubtedly have to go over again, if that makes sense. So I offer that as a motion and would ask a second. The motion being to simply delay discussion and obviously action until November.
I'd second the motion.
Fine. And if there's no further discussion, then I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we'll just move that down the line out of the way. Number 10 is discussion and possible action on naming an official delegate for the Illinois Association of Park District. When you hear us say IAPD, that's the acronym for this organization. Their annual business meeting occurs in conjunction with the annual conference, which is usually the last weekend in the month of January. We have been doing this on a rotating basis, and Commissioner Gamage's turn comes up. This year, it will be a virtual conference, and essentially the duties of that position are to cast the district's vote principally on the selection of trustees and any elective officers for the IAPD, and then occasionally for changes in constitution or bylaws that have been proposed by the trustees. It is onerous in the sense that you have to sit there. Now, in the past, we have paid for the delegates' travel, lodging, and registration as a reward for having to sit through this business meeting. Obviously, we can't do that this year, so what I would like to propose is that we ask Commissioner Gamage to assume this duty virtually this year, and then on the hopeful assumption that the conference will be an in-person conference in 2022, because 2021 is when it will be held virtually, that we would then subsidize Commissioner Gamage's travel at that point. Okay? Did that come across as being in English?
We would consider any expenses for travel.
Yeah.
They should incur.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
All right. So I will propose that as a motion and look for a second.
I'd second that motion.
We have it second, and I don't know that we need so we'll make this a voice vote, and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. I understand, but you have to. Did I not hear you?
You have to vote. because
Did
we
you
have
say
to have
aye?
I said
three.
aye.
Okay, fine. And opposed? None. So that's the agreement.
Two years.
Thank you.
That's the understanding agreement, sure.
Got it.
We now
We didn't.
come to item number 11, which is the open commissioner presentation and discussion of future agenda items. Do either of my colleagues have anything to offer at this point?
Not much.
Then I do. I joined this board in 2007. And short of taking off my shoes to use toes, I'm not sure how many years that means I've been on it. And it has been a most rewarding and, in fact, a genuinely enjoyable thing to be part of. I think the district has come remarkably far in that time as we've seen considerable professionalization in our staff, refinement of our facilities. But I am beginning to feel what singer-songwriter Greg Brown referred to as bones, stiff old bones. And so at this point, I want to say that I will not run for re-election in the April 2021 re-election unless the zombie apocalypse hits, we are struck by an asteroid, and any number of unexpected kinds
If we
of
see it on
events.
TV, it may be happening.
Well, that's true,
Some
that's
shows
true.
like that, so.
The reason that I am bringing it up at this point is that the deadline for submission of election positions is December 21st. And I want to offer anybody who might be interested to encourage them to begin to think about that. I don't want there to be any uncertainty about whether seats will be open or anything like that that might deter, obscure. And I would encourage anybody who has the slightest interest that it is, in fact, rewarding, and it is a good board and a good district to work with. And I would encourage them to explore even the slightest interest by contacting either President Phil Weiss or Director Lenz in her position as secretary to the board, or any of the sitting commissioners to find out what's going on. We need good people in local government. I will say that the primary duties of the board are not operational or administrative. They are caretaking and responsibility for the public's tax funds, for their property, and to ensure that the director is headed in a policy direction that the board is comfortable with. And perhaps more fundamentally, to be the public's voice on the board, to be the people that the public can come to and say, this is what we want. That's a necessary thing and a good thing. So if you're interested, your salient dates would be the filing deadline on December 21st, and the director can provide you with all of the requirements about petitions and the various paperwork, which she can offer. The election itself is in April of 2021, and the seating is done in May of 2021. I was asked earlier this evening by a good friend what I propose to, do with what sudden spare time this would give me. And my response was that I was going to concentrate on making good photographs, shooting good groups, finding good reads, and drinking good pours. I can assure you I've been doing all of that all along the way, so it is not that time consuming, but it is essential. Please consider it. And with that, I'm done. So, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I hear a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? We have a,
Second it. And again, John, I want to echo, all the time that you've been here. You've been a very good mentor.
thank you, I appreciate that. There'll be time enough for that when I can perhaps evade it. But I do appreciate
Give you
it.
opportunity.
So
I second.
with a motion on the floor to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? We stand adjourned. Stay well, stay healthy, wear a mask, wash your hands, and let's lick this thing.